subscribe now and press the bell icon. Never miss an update.
Guys, let's get into an OP10 match. This time we have Usopp versus the mighty Shanks. So we should have some fun stuff going on. Stay till the end of the video to see an OP deck list and win your locals, regionals, whatever you want to do. I'm sure we can help. So with Usopp going first, we want to try to find our Searcher plus Korra Coliseum. Here our hand's not bad, but I think we can do better. So let's go ahead and mulligan. And I kind of like this better. We have our Korra Coliseum, we have our blocker, we have our Zoro. A lot of good stuff here. So let's see what we can do. Typically, we want to go in for an attack, lay down our blocker to prevent any type of shenanigans from Shanks. And Shanks is definitely a very hard matchup. So you got to be careful. You got to get them exhausted, keep your pressure up, and you can definitely get a win here. And typically, since Shanks has 5 life, I really don't want to give up much to him if I don't have to. So let's just simply counter out of this. And of course, he has that annoying 2020 Chopper, who is secretly Sanji. And this is where Zoro is so amazing. You come at him, boom, get out of here. You can't do much. And now we can go in for a 6k swing. We still have a Zoro for next turn. We still have a blocker. And we actually have our Rebecca Kyros combo. So I'm really happy about that. I think a lot of good stuff here. And it just really comes down to what Shanks is going to do. And of course, he puts on this new super OP Luffy. The new Luffy and Zoro, they're so ridiculous. But we're just going to simply counter out of this because he's at 7k. And then if, Shanks attack with 6, hopefully we'll have some stuff we can counter. But since we didn't get any 2k counter from our life, let's just go ahead and take that. I think we're at a good place. And now we're at 7 Dawn. This is where we can start dropping our combos and really put the pressure on. Like, that's going to make it relatively hard for Shanks to have an answer for us. So before I like to put my combo down, get an attack out first, see if Shanks does the -1. This way, we have more options in the future. And I'm still debating if I want to put Luffy back up to hand or try to attack, but I think I'm going to send him back to hand instead. I could go for the attack because I have Korra Coliseum, which essentially gives me character rush. My characters that are just played can attack other rested characters. So boom, we'll send them back. Clear his board. This is one of the reasons why I love Usopp so much, is look how easy it is to flood the board. Plus, we could have put down a blocker, but I really figured playing down, Leo makes sense. Do some searching, pull out some good pieces for next turn, and now we also have the new Dressrosa Luffy, which can be clutch. The fact that you can attack active characters with it, send 7 cards from your bottom of your deck back into your deck, and essentially make it active again to go and get some attacks off. I think it's pretty cool. And the reason why I sent the Luffy back in the first place, because I knew if he wanted to play the Luffy back again, he has to waste 5 Dawn, which is like super annoying to deal with, but it's perfectly fine. We still have a relatively strong board. We have a good amount of counters to deal with. So I think the game's going well, but it could definitely change at any moment. So you got to be vigilant. Shanks is still super strong in OP10, so we got to be careful. And there's not really much we can do here. I'm taking the Zoro out kind of sucks, but let's go ahead and save this guy anyway. He's a 6k attack. Plus, I think having more characters on the board right now is going to give us more, and he got rid of it anyway. And that's why I don't ultimately mind, because when you lose a Dressrosa type character, Usopp gives you the ability to draw anyway. So you can refill your hand back up, hopefully get some more options. And now that we have Cavendish, which is really great for us, because with Cavendish, when he attacks, we can draw 2 cards and trash 1 card. So it's a great way to cycle through your deck and just give you that incredible draw power that you need. So even if I don't kill Luffy here, if I can remove 1 card out of hand, if I can, get some more of my cards in hand, I think that's a win-win situation. So that kind of played out the way I expect. Now we can go in, try to kill Luffy. And as you notice, our Shanks hand isn't growing. We're slowly taking cards out of his hand. We're slowly going for life. And just look at our awesome board right here. We also have Frankie, which I love. Oh, man. He played out the big body Shanks, which instantly KOs. But I do have 2 more Kyroses on the board. So I'm okay with that. Man, I hate that Shanks. Shanks is so powerful late game. Just dropping all these big bodies. A lot of them have rush too. But let's counter out of that attack. We still want to keep our board filled. I really like Frankie because if he's the last one to get attacked, he can summon back a 3 cost or less Dressrosa type character. Essentially another blocker if you want. And then your opponent's in a bad spot. And now, what are we gonna do? Options, options, options. So many options. I feel like we need to get some more cards out of hand. So let's just go in for the attack. They'll lose at least a card out of hand. We get some more options, and we have so much Kyros. I think we can afford to lose one of them. Overall, I think I have a relatively strong hand. I still have 3, life. So let's just go in, put some pressure in, get some, cards out of hand, get some life off the board, and just see what we can do here. Now, there's really no good active characters for Dressrosa Luffy to attack, so I think ending the turn totally makes sense. This way, in later stages, if I want to attach more Dawn to him, go in for a powerful attack, reset him again, I think that could work out relatively well. Man, we lost our Luffy, sadly. It happens. But look, we lost our Luffy, we drew a new card, and now we have Red Rock in our hand. So if Shanks does become too crazy, we have something to deal with. And as I talked about, you kill the Frankie, you put down the soft blocker, and he's probably smart. He got rid of Cavendish, which is essentially to prevent us from cycling through our deck even more. So I have no issues there. I didn't really want to give up any of the other cards I had in hand, so I think it's fine to give up Red Rock for the time being. Not give up, but use the Red Rock right now. Just because he has other powerful characters, but if you let him stack too many, 10 cost, it's going to be relatively hard for you to deal with. So you don't want that. I think it's way too messy. And now we want to continue to keep some pressure up on him. I do have 2 Red Rock in the decks. I used one already, perfectly fine. And then we still have another one somewhere hiding if we need it. But look at this. We have 3 life. He has 2. And now we can just keep putting some pressure on. And we still ultimately have that blocker as well, too. So if he gets too tricky for his own good, or really wants to come in super hard at us, putting down a 10k, 10 cost Shanks, then we can at least block it off and let us survive. Ooh, Rayleigh. Silver's Rayleigh. One of the most annoying cards out there of all time. But it is super strong. We did lose our blocker because of its ability. Perfectly fine. We got a good amount of counters in hand. So I'm still feeling relatively strong about this game, but it could change at any moment. Ooh, nice. I have another 2k in hand, which is good. Take out the Rebecca. Perfectly fine. She's at 4k, so I can easily add a couple of Dawns, make her strong. So I think it makes sense for Shanks to kill Rebecca. And now my board is relatively empty. And this is kind of where it gets a little bit tough. But if we get a Rebecca soon, we can fill our board up. So I'm not too worried about that. And just, I think having the Zoro out would be great. Just get a 6k attack. Unfortunately, the only thing we can really get rid of is Ultima. But why not? Get rid of it. We have Korra Coliseum. We're not really using it for anything else. Cool. And look at that. We keep whittling down Shanks' hands. And just setting ourselves up for, a few more turns. I think we'll be able to do some epic stuff. I really want to see another Rebecca. Do some epic comboing here. And let's put down our Frankie as well, too. This Frankie is so efficient. I love the guy. And of course, we play the big Shanks here. So I'm going to counter out. And then when Shanks attack, or during their last attack, I'm probably going to use with Frankie. So this way I can summon another blocker, or even a searcher if I need, as my last turn. So he comes in. He's like, oh, I'm going to take that out. And I say, no, sir. Here's Frankie for you. Draw a card. Awesome. Now, blocker or searcher? That is the big question here. I'll probably put a blocker down. He has some really big bodies. We have to be careful. But at the same time, he only has 2 life and 3 cards in hand. So he's getting to definitely a very dangerous spot. Man, our final Red Rock, we can't get it. But I think we'll be fine without it. I'm not too worried about it. Put down another Cavendish so we can do some more cycling. And I feel like we should be able to kill the Silver Rayleigh. I hope. He only has 3 cards, so there is a good chance he might not be able to counter out of this. And if he does, he's going to lose some cards in hand. So that's good. Now Shanks only has 1 character on the board. Even though it is a 10 cost, it does a minus 1k on everyone. It's still super annoying. And this is kind of what we want. We're whittling him down. We have 2 health, and we still have a blocker on the board. He has 1 health, and he has 5 cards in hand. So Shanks could still turn this around. He could always play another Shank and sort of mess us up. but I think we're in a good place. I don't think he can kill us within this one turn. And if we survive, I think next turn we definitely got him. Unless he plays like anything super unpredictable. So let's see. The waiting, the suspense is what always gets me the most. I'm like, literally anything could happen. I know the Shanks deck very well, so I know his options are probably going to be a little limited, but at the same time, you never know what they're going to do. And they still have 10 Dons right now, so they can literally make any play happen. With red decks, you got to be always cautious. If not, they will smack you around. But this guy's been thinking for a while now. Makes me think maybe he's cornered himself. He's like, hey, I can't possibly win this, or he has one chance. What is he going to... I'm really happy that I got that blocker out with Frankie. Just having that extra padding is... Oh, he puts out another Luffy. Okay. Man, Rush is so hard to deal with sometimes. But I'm confident. I think we can make some plays here. So you want to take out Cavendish. Sir, we won't let you. I'm really hoping to just win next turn. So I want to keep my board as flooded as possible. Just so I can, use these characters and just lay the smackdown. And then you got Shanks coming in. Shanks with Zoro. I'm like, nah, man, you can't have that. So he does have... Oh, ooh, Lucky Roo. It's crazy, but here's a good part. We can do our combos. We can put down our Kyros, which can send Lucky Roo back to hand. So I hate dealing with that. The fact that you kill Lucky Roo, he can kill a 6,000 cost or less, character. Super annoying to deal with. Let's get rid of him. There's really nothing we can do with Zoro here. But look at our board again. We're pretty flushed out. So I'm relatively happy about this. And let's see what we can do here. If we can kill this Luffy, I think that would be a big win for us. Man, will this go through? Come on, Shanks. Oh, he let it go. Okay, perfect. Okay, I'm feeling a little bit more confident. We do have 3 more Dons left. Let's go ahead and get some Smackdown in, of course. Man, this is so exciting. I always love having good games. In OP09, I feel like Shanks gave me way too much problem. In OP10, I feel like I can deal with him a bit better. And now Shanks has no life. This is where things get a bit more dangerous. And we still have 2 more Dons left, which is really good. I feel like I wanna put down a blocker just in case. Yeah, put down a blocker. So we have 2 life. We have a blocker. So the question, like I asked myself, can Shanks defeat me in 1 turn? I don't think Shanks can. I think we might actually be good here. If we didn't have that blocker, then potentially like Shanks could come in with this big... Oh, he Divine Departured me. Jesus, he got Kyros. What a scumbag. What an evil, evil guy. But that's why Divine Departure is pretty strong. But he did waste up most of his Dawn, so I'm not really worried that he's going to, come in and try to end the game. He attacked with Shank. We easily countered out of that. Nope. Idio, I'm sorry, buddy. And we have another Lucky Roo. Super annoying, but guess what? Yep. Let's go ahead and play the Rebecca out. Play this guy out, send him back to hand. Put another blocker out. And, like, now Shanks literally has nowhere to go. Like, this is so perfect. What are you gonna do, buddy? He's gonna take it. There's no way. I have way too many characters on the board. There's literally nothing he can do. And GG. That is how you do it. Good stuff. Like, Shanks versus Usopp is relatively close. I think Usopp does very well. And this is just an example of why Usopp is so powerful in OP10. He's literally like a better version of Jinbei, where you can flood the board so incredibly, especially with Kora Coliseum, having all your characters with Rush. It's ridiculous. But either way, let's get into the deck list and let's see what makes this deck tick. I'll see you guys over there. Alright, let's get straight into it. A Usopp OP10 deck list. If you watched my videos in the past, this should be like super clear and familiar to everyone. So let's just do a quick run through just to see where things are. You have your Usopp leader, 2 cost or higher Dressrosa type characters get +1 cost. Awesome. And every time a Dressrosa type character leaves the field, as long as you have 5 or less cards, in your hand, you get to draw a card. Super great way to refill your cards back up. Pudding. Obviously, you're going to need 2 of these to deal with hand sizes, which can get crazy in OP10. So 2 puddings, I think that's all you need. Next is going to be your Cavendish. This is what gives you your draw power. I run 3, but you can run 4. Sometimes people will run 4 of these Cavendish and 3 of these Zoros, but I rather have the extra removal power, so I think 3 is enough. But if you have issues finding cards, go up to 4. Then you have your Kitos, which is 7 cost 9k, and you get to return a 5 cost or lower back to owner's hand. As you guys saw during the Shanks game, super powerful. Definitely run 4 because this is your big boss monster for the deck. Next, we have Sabo, primarily as a 2k counter, but at the same time, if you do play him out and essentially one of your one of your 7 cost or lower cards will be removed from the board by your opponent's effect, you may instead return this character back to hand, which I think is beneficial, but mostly I use them for the 2k counter. I think 3 is a great place to be. Then it's Leo, one of the best searchers in the game. You essentially either rest your stage or character, draw 2 cards, trash 1 card. Super awesome for finding all the pieces. Typically, you want to try to find Leo within the first 2 hands, so you can use him without having to worry about resting your leader and missing out on an attack. So 4 for sure. Next is Rebecca. Like to run 4 of these because essentially you play Rebecca, you get to play out a 7 cost or lower. Then you get to play out another 4 cost or lower, and you get to draw a card. She gives you so much utility, helps you fill up the board, as you guys saw. So definitely run 4. Plus, she has 1k counter just in case you need. This deck, I feel like, definitely requires a lot of Survivor early to mid game. So having a bunch of blockers and counter is always good to go. So I like to run 4 of these. Idio, he only costs 2, and he has a 1k counter. And this is typically great for first turn. You can put down, let's say, your Core Coliseum or your Searcher. Second turn, you can get an attack off and put down a blocker. So I think it's definitely beneficial to have 4 of these. Next is going to be the other blocker in the deck. We do have one more, Frankie, but I really like his Bart. 2k counter, 3k cost, super strong. Love the strong amount of counter as well. Rock 4 of these. Next, we have the new Dressrosa Luffy, which you can essentially play down using Rebecca's ability to help flood the board. And this character can attack active characters. So you put him down, and let's say one of your opponent's character isn't rested, you can go for that. And then if you want to trash 7 cards from your trash, bottom deck them, you can set this back to active and do another attack if you want. Super powerful. But if you do use that ability to bottom deck 7 cards and bring this back, be aware during your next refresh phase, he can't be put back to active. He's essentially frozen. So typically I like to use him where I play him, load him up with the crap ton of dot, and then next turn I can do one big attack, reset him, do another big attack. Next is going to be a searcher for the deck, Rebecca. I only like to run 2 of these because Leo, I think, is the superior searcher. He essentially gives me everything I need. But just in case I don't get a Leo, I think having 2 Rebecca is enough. You don't need 4. If you do 4, you're going to miss out other techs in this deck, which I don't recommend. Next is going to be One-Legged Soldier, 2k counter, which is great. So I like to have 4 of these. And on top of that, activate main. You may trash this card and give someone -3. So when you combine him with Zoro, you can literally take out a 7 cost relatively easily using this plus the Zoro. So rock 4. Next is going to be our last blocker, Frankie. 4 cost, 5,000 attack, 1k counter. And on KO, you can place one of your 3 cost or lower Dressrosa type character, rested from your trash. I really love him because if Frankie is the last character to get attacked before your opponent's turn is over, he essentially blocks for you. You can use his on-K ability to either find a searcher like Leo because you need to find, your missing pieces, or you can go ahead and, do another blocker. So you can essentially get Idio back, Bartholomew, and because it's the end of your turn, when it comes, essentially when your turn is over and it goes back to your opponent, you have another blocker standing. So it's very beneficial. Rock 4. And we are almost at this list. It's kind of nice just running through it. If you need a bigger explanation of any of these cards, watch my Usopp guide that I posted recently. But without further ado, 4 of these Zoros, super removal power, on play, rest up to your leader or stage, and KO up to opponent with a 4 cost or lower. Then place top 2 cards of your deck into your trash. This is a really great way to build up your trash for Luffy if needed. And at the same time, think about Teach, right? Teach has Doc Q, which KOs a 0 cost or lower, and most removal is like that. But with Zoro, you get to do 4 cost or lower. Super OP, love him, rock 4. And then our last two cards we'll talk about. One of them is Red Rock. I like to run two of these for very situational moment, especially when you go against Shanks, Teach, and other big bodies. Instantly send any card bottom deck. Super beneficial. Rock only two. I think four is overkill, and you don't want to lose any of the other tech. So I think two is good enough because it's such a situational card. And the last one's going to be Cora Coliseum. This essentially gives your characters character rush, which means that as soon as you play down a character, if there is a rested character on your opponent's side, they can attack for it instantly. You guys saw it in the Shanks game. You guys saw how powerful it is. And especially when you have leaders like characters like Leo and Zoro, where you have to rest a character or stage, you can rest the stage instead of the Usopp leader. So I think it works out very, very beneficially. This is probably one of the strongest deck in OP10. Give this a shot. If you want to see more videos like this, please let me know. But I appreciate you guys watching. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.